Hey guys, today we're going to talk about energy and how it flows through an ecosystem. Our essential question is, how do biotic and abiotic factors influence the environment? Hopefully by now you know that bio means life, so that biotic means living things, and abiotic means non-living. Remember to continue working on your prefix and suffixes. Our learning target is analyze energy pyramids for direction and efficiency of energy transfer. Alright? We'll be talking about energy in many different ways, but right now we're just going to talk about energy in ecosystems and food webs and pyramids. How many of you guys know where energy starts? Hopefully, by now you know that it starts with the sun. Our little sun here, if I can find my shapes. I'll have to hand draw it. So here is my sun. Alright, so every bit of energy comes from our sun, even our energy. We get energy from eating, alright? We eat a Snickers bar, we get plenty of energy. If you got a little sibling, you don't want them eating a bunch of candy because it probably makes them crazy. Maybe you're that younger sibling that drives everybody crazy, alright, when you eat your candy. But from one point, before your candy bar was a candy bar, it had to come from the energy that you received came from the sun. Alright, so what type of things can take energy from the sun? Those are producers. So here's my grass. We all know that grass gets energy from the sun. It's immediate and it can take it just the way it is. Now we can't stand outside and open our mouths and look at the sun and get energy. We have to eat. But grass, it gets energy from the sun. Alright, then something has to consume that grass. How about a grasshopper? So here's our little grasshopper man. He is munching on that grass. Alright, then energy travels from the grasshopper to our mice, because mice can consume grasshoppers. What can consume a mice? How about a black snake? Black snakes can eat the mice and it gets energy and it can go all the way to a red-tailed hawk. So this is a system that you could actually see in your yard or out in a field. You may not like mice or snakes, but they do have a purpose, alright? So basically our energy is traveling from our main point, which will be our sun. So I'll draw a big arrow here, alright? Then, from the grass to the grasshopper, from the grasshopper to the mouse, from the mouse to the snake, and from the snake all the way to the red-tailed hawk. Now you may be asking, why did I just make these arrows smaller? Well, the answer is because the grass gets a lot more energy from the sun than the grasshopper gets energy from eating the grass. Therefore, the grasshopper has to eat twice as much as the grass has to get from the sun to get the same amount of energy, and so forth, all the way to this very last guy. Now, what I have drawn for you is, hopefully you know this, web. Alright, so this right here is a food web. Please that your food webs are going to show the energy that it travels. So anything that eats something is going to have the arrow go that way. That's why pointing at the grasshopper, it's not saying that the grass is eating the grasshopper, it's showing the energy that it goes from. So that's how a proper food web is drawn. Alright, if we were to add more animals, it would be a, you know what guys, I'm sorry, that's stupid. This is a food chain because it goes in one direction. So please make sure you see that. This is a chain, it goes one direction, it doesn't have multiple different types of animals. So this is a food chain. Now if we fixed it, it would be a food web. So let's fix it. Food webs look like a spider web, so I will erase what I got right here, and we will draw our food web. Alright, so just give me 1 second to construct it here. So we're going to make this guy really large. Alright, that's still the starting point of grass because you have to have a producer. Alright, we have our grasshopper. We have our mice. Put this here. We have our snake. We have our hawk. Alright, but we could also add a smaller bird. I can't think of a species, so I'm actually just going to, yes, I'm going to type smaller bird. We also can have something else that can eat grass. So we could put, trying to think of an insect off of the fly here. Oh, we could go with, let's see here. Just put another insect. Sorry guys, I'm having a hard time here thinking about it. So we put another insect here that also consumes the grass. So we get, what we get is our lines are this. From the grass, let me make that bigger. From the grass to the grasshopper. Okay. Also from the grass to the insect. Alright, what can eat the grasshopper? Well, the mice can. And so can this smaller bird. Alright, this smaller bird can also eat the insect. And the smaller bird could also eat the mouse. Alright, the snake can eat the smaller bird. Alright, so we draw that energy going that way. The snake can also eat the mouse. And the hawk can eat the snake. Technically, a hawk could eat a mouse if it wanted to, and a hawk could eat the smaller bird. Alright, this has now turned from a food chain. Alright, now we're looking at the food web, and you can see it is messy. And what it is, all it is, a food web contains multiple food chains, so you have more animals involved. Alright, and still it's showing the energy flow. The mice gets energy from the grasshopper, the snake gets energy from the mouse, etc. Alright, so the last thing you need is that you can actually make something called, let me get rid of all these here. You get rid of this, can make something called a pyramid, an energy pyramid. So I'll do that now. Here is my energy pyramid that I've got for you guys. Alright, everything starts with producers, so we're going to put our producers on top of it. Alright, so here are our producers. It goes down here. Alright, something that consumes the producers is going to be the grasshopper, so we'll put that back in here. Alright, make him small enough to fit. Alright, and what ate the grasshopper? The grasshopper was eaten by the mouse. So we're going to bring him to the front and put the mouse on here. Alright, and then the last thing could be the snake or the hawk, whichever one. Alright, now you can go higher than this, but this is just an example up to 4 because that's normally what they look like. Alright, so this is a energy pyramid. And now I'll change the color of this. Hopefully you guys have seen or heard of this before. It's going to be your producers. Alright. There's also another name for it. If you begin looking at your prefixes and suffixes, it means self, and troph means energy. So these are autotrophs. That means they make their own energy, and they get that, remember, directly from the sun. Alright. These guys are going to be your primary consumers. Alright, that's them. They also have a different name. They eat only grass, so they're also called herbivores. They don't eat any meat. Okay. This would be your secondary consumer. Alright, and they are, these guys eat only meat and things like that, so they are carnivores. Spanish, carne means meat. Alright, and then your third would be tertiary. Weird word, but consumer. Called the omnivore. A lot of times they can eat both. Alright, this one doesn't always go, so I'll just erase it for now. We are omnivores, most of us. Alright, humans can eat both. Alright, and so we show the direction of energy. As you go up the food web, the energy pyramid, you lose 90%. 90% is lost. This is very important. So every time you go up, you lose 90% of the energy, which means this guy up here, if it's us or a snake or whatever, has to eat hundreds and hundreds of times as much as a grass has to work to get as much energy that we need. All right, that's why the bigger the base of the triangle shows the amount of animals that exist. So there are less snakes than mice, less mice than grasshoppers, and less grasshoppers than plants. All right, hopefully by this you know, if you can do math, that means only 10% is actually gained or transported up the food chain. So 90% is lost, 10% is actually transported up each one. All right, but this one is really the key to remember. So if something happened to any of these things in this food chain, no matter what the organism is, no matter what the hypothetical situation is, could be one in the ocean or on land, the one I've drawn for you is on land, something happens to it, then it's going to really affect everything above it, which will then affect humans. So that's why humans need to make sure they take care of the environment, because it takes a lot of the things at the bottom to feed what's at the top. So if something happens to these things in the middle, or even if we lose our autotrophs, we're all going to suffer, because it's the only thing that can take energy directly from the sun, and without that energy from the sun, none of us can survive.